I feel like the whole world is asking me to talk about the new movie. Do you really dare to listen? Start by directly stimulating the male host to play mobile phone at home. Suddenly, on notice of an emergency disaster, riots broke out in Seoul. No going out. What riot? At this time, screaming and running outside the window and screaming downstairs. The hero went to the balcony to have a look. The neighborhood is a mess. Everybody was running and the fire engines were running. A mother came out with a kitchen knife for my daughter the next second, and the daughter began to bite her mother in her madness, throw him to the ground. At this time, there was a crash outside the door. The hero walks to the door to see nothing through the cat's eye. He was too curious. Open a crack in the door. A man forced his way in. It was mainly he who went out, but this man was more nervous than he was. I almost got into a fight. When I finally calmed down, he said he was leaving without having to go to the bathroom. Male advocate agreed. As soon as one enters, the news is on TV. That people infected with the terrorist virus would eat people. Men panic, run for the knife. Then the neighbor behind came out, but they got him out with a knife. The other shook his head and said he was fine, but as he spoke his eyes began to bleed. Then wiggle your limbs. In a few seconds, the living become the walking dead. The hero pushed him out with all his might and closed the door. After playing for a while, he decided to get the refrigerator and block the door first. And then I called my family, but I couldn't get through. He was so worried. Then I got a message from my mother. Mom can't seem to get home. Rest assured, we're fine. Dad sent a message too. The son must live. With these few pieces of information, the men felt at ease. He checks the food, but there wasn't much food. When I woke up the next day, he took out his drone and used it to spy on what was going on outside. Every family has a loss, men more desperate. He asked him if he had been woken by a noise. There was a policewoman running for her life downstairs. She shoots helplessly, but attracts more zombies. He was quickly tackled. Men can't watch, roar with rage. But far from being useful, and he exposed himself. There was a loud bang behind him. The refrigerator had been knocked open. There's a zombie coming. So stop right now, but she was not strong enough. He let go and ran to the balcony to jump. Do not dare. But he went over the zombies anyway, and fell over and down. And the male protagonist is clinging to the balcony railing to escape. He went back to check that the zombie had opened the refrigerator, knocked over all the food. Men so sad, we'll just have to eat less. The seventh day, she's so hungry. There was an advertisement in the TV news broadcast today. Every ramen man couldn't help watching. Take out your last bowl of instant noodles. After a few more days of eating contentedly, the cell phone suddenly got a signal. He was delighted to receive a voice from one of his family. And heard his family dying to say one last word to him, and then the screams. He gave up hope at last. In the evening, he hung up a loop of rope. He put his neck in. She kicked the chair over and began to choke. Just then a laser fell on his face. He thought quickly, but the circle is too tight. He couldn't get out. He was struggling in the air. After a while he finally pulled off the rope and came to himself. He looked across the building. He was a beautiful woman. Men finally see the living. Happy at last there was hope of survival. She is a person with strong survival ability. You have all kinds of tools in your house, and a homemade chair trap at the door. If a zombie breaks in, you'll be stuck forever. He solved the problem with an axe. One day, she saw the hero covering his stomach, knowing that he was hungry. As a result, he was going to throw a rope over with a baseball. Throw hard. It fell too far downstairs. At this time male main drone.